of course, my name is AZairo Carithers. I have went viral, and you and most people found me because I was living in the body and life of a trans woman for 16 years. And then Romans 12:2, God renewed my mind and brought me back to him. Not thinking about the future. I'm 20 years old at the time, and it started from that day. I didn't even think about it. I just did it. I was like, literally, I call it throwing my life away. I literally threw my life away overnight because acceptance and attention felt like love to a broken child.
And you went viral. Okay.
I know, out of nowhere.
What led you to this moment?
So made the community look good, but the minute the minute this went viral, oh my God. Them people went to making lives. They went to making posts. They went on my Facebook page and reported old posts, which is why I'm in Facebook jail now.
Wow. Oh, so you're the poster kid of detransitioning. Okay. Why mention the devil in your transitioning? Is this not just a choice you made?
Right. The reason why I mentioned the devil, and I think when I mentioned the devil, I mentioned it. I said the devil tricked me. I think that was the triggering of everybody.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there's a gay or LGBTQ plus agenda? Is it true that doctors don't like to do detransition surgeries?
My doctor just made me go through mental evaluation to get my testosterone, but he didn't make me do that for my hormones.
So why are people in the community mad at you about this detransition?
Because they feel like I'm not helping I'm not helping the agenda.
If someone wants to detransition, is it ever too far into a transition where you can't? And how does one start their journey of detransitioning?
I feel like it's
what's going on.
They was calling women birth givers, and I was like, man, y'all go too far. Bro.
Yes, and chest feeding.
Y'all go too far.
I'm a brand new creature because the owe me to die. I'm new. I'm new.
Hey you guys, Whitney D here, and I had the pleasure of sitting down with AZairo. You may be more aware of him with his viral video on TikTok of his deliverance. The devil made him transition into a woman. Yes, I had the pleasure of sitting down with this man. So please lock in and enjoy the video. Man to woman, back to man. God's glory. Oh my gosh. So here we have it. Okay. The viral God, the devil made me do it. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. And I'm a story builder. All right. So let the people know who you are and how was your upbringing.
Okay. All right. Starting there. Okay. Well, of course, my name is AZairo Carithers. I have went viral, and you and most people found me because I was living in the body and life of a trans woman for 16 years. And then Romans 12:2, God renewed my mind and brought me back to him. And now here I am, just waiting to get out of the physical body, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and every other which way, I'm already there. So I am from Florida. I was born in Tallahassee, Florida. And then my parents moved to West Palm Beach, Florida when I was like a baby, before I even turned 1. And I was living in West Palm Beach, Florida till I was 8. And then my parents divorced, and they both remarried. They both remarried monsters at that. And my mom kind of, how it is when parents get a divorce, the mom usually just assumes custody. I will say this. I thank God that fathers now are fighting for their equal rights in custody, because my mom admits it now, but there's no way she should have just told my dad, well, I'm taking the kids and be moving to Orlando and that's final, So I want to tell fathers, fight for your children, because my father, he opposed it, but he didn't fight for us because, and so we moved to Orlando with my mom and her second husband, who was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was a monster. And so he terrorized me the most because I always was like, pretty boy, kind of had feminine ways, smart. Back then in the 90s, if you wasn't, if you wasn't DMX, you was too gay or too pretty or too this. And with him being a male chauvinist, it almost was embarrassing to him. You know what I'm saying? So he took a lot of hatred out on me. It was like being in the house with Ike Turner, but Ike Turner that says he's saved. So it's like, yeah, it was real confusing for a long time. I think that's where childhood depression started because, me and my mom were best friends before then. And because of when my parents divorced, my mom found the church. My dad found the coke. And so, that was the cause of the divorce. And so my mom wanted to raise us. You know how women were, especially back then, I want to find a good man to help raise my children. And, opposite of my father, who was more of a beta male, here comes this alpha male, and he's so strong and, he's so rah-rah and rat-a-tat-tat. And she thought, like a lot of Black moms back then, that's the best to help raise Black men and combat homosexuality and combat, gang violence and, all the things that Black men found. What she didn't know was that was a trick of the enemy. And that's what it ended up being because she married a monster behind the mask of ministry, He was saved on Sunday and the devil as soon as we left the church house. And so for a long time, I said, well, if this is God, then I want nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? This is church. I want nothing to do with it.
Right.
And so when I left my parents' house, I left my mom's house at 18. We were in Orlando by then. And I moved to Tampa because I didn't want to stay in the same house with my terrorist. Now, by then, he had stopped, physically abusing me. But it's still like a stab in the wound every day when you still got to go home and see your terrorist every day. You know what I'm saying? So I knew for a fact I wasn't going to UCF, which I could have because I was a local Orlando resident and I was a scholar. They gave me a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
But you had to stay at home. And I was like, if I stay at home, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew if I stayed home, I was going to kill him. Because I had already had several thoughts about doing that from 14. So I went to me and my mom compromised. I went to USF. And then when I went to USF, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It found me, clubs, drugs, and everything in between. And I think.
How did you get to the point of transitioning?
So I went to USF, and I was now, as they say, I was grown enough to do what I want to do. Yeah. So once I moved to Tampa, I finally had freedom because my mother and her terrorist husband at the time, they were very strict. They was on top of us. She actually preaches to people now. Don't have all that because your children, once they get in the streets, they're so raw. They haven't experienced nothing. Let them experience something. So once I moved to Tampa, I went to I let one of my friends talk me into going to a gay club for the first time, right? And I was scared, nervous. And that night, we went to the gay club. It so happened to be a pageant. They had something called a closet ball pageant. A closet ball pageant is when the people come out as men first, then they go in the back for an hour and they transition into drag queens, like you see on RuPaul's Drag Race. Then they come out. So, for us, it was interesting. It was, we didn't have no opinion about it, good, bad, or indifferent. Just like, oh, wow, this is something, And then I remember seeing this, now I know, a trans woman. I was like, oh, she's pretty. I wonder what she's doing here. He's like, that's a man, right? I was like, no, it ain't. He was like, yes, it is. I said, no, it ain't. And then she came over to us, and I think, I started paying attention to the height, and the height, because I was like, no, I can't, because I had never seen, or I was green at the time. I didn't know about hormones and surgeries. I just thought a man's a man, a woman's a woman, and sometimes men dress in drag. But where I was from, Orlando, you can always tell the niggas in wigs. It wasn't no trans women like that. So I was like, wow. And I didn't think nothing else of it. And then I started doing what they call boy entertainment pageants. So that's where you stay a boy the whole time, but you still entertain and lip sync as well. And so I started meeting a lot of people, of course. Started, like I said, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Because they start pressuring you. Hey, take this drink, try this drink, Sex on the beach, you know, try this. I'm like, what is this? It's an X pill. It's gonna make you feel good, you know. Tried that, try marijuana, and then I started attracting haters. I think I've always attracted haters because I was the young fly nigga in town. You know, I was going to college. Most of them were either scammers or bums. And so once I got enough of that, I started hanging out by myself again. But there was this one I had met, this one trans woman named Natalia. One night I'm knocked out in bed. She came over, she knocked on my door, and she was like, hey, you know, listen, I need somewhere to stay. The police on my tail, because she was one of the scammers. Check writing was real big back then. I let her come stay. And I think when you allow the devil in your home, it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. You know, because bad company corrupts good morals. You know, and I was 19 years old. This person was 36. Ain't no way in hell 36-year-old should have even felt comfortable, right, knocking on my door asking to come stay with me. But you know, when you're young and you're misguided and you're broken and you're unhealed, you want to be accepted because acceptance feels like love, even if it's not.
Yeah.
So, I let her stay the night. You know, I came home the next day. She geeked up. I mean, she tore up. And she one of the people like when she get geeked up, like her mouth started getting twisted and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm full.
Bobby Brown.
Yeah. I was like, what's wrong with you? She was like, I'm full. I'm like, what's full? I didn't know what none of the terminology.
Right.
She took out this bag and I'm like, what's that? She's like, that's coke. I was like, oh baby, you got to go. She's like, no, I'm just going through it. I thought I was done going to prison. It's that next thing. Fast forward to about she went and did her little prison sentence. Fast forward, she come home. She said, hey, I have nowhere else to stay. You know, my place was comfortable. She learned that night. I had an extra bedroom. And when you're in college, you know, you're baited easily by money. She's like, hey, listen, we can split the bills. This, that, the next thing. So I was like, all right, bet for a few months you could stay here. You know, when people try to get in your house, they show you their good side, their poker face. And I thought that was like a one-time thing, man. This lady moved in a week later, man. This lady going to get a pint of Bacardi every day. She's going to get a bag of coke every day. And I was strong. I wasn't able to do it. But then on Friday, she'd be like, hey, come to the club with me, because the gay club in Tampa was every Friday. I was like, nah, I ain't going. And then one night I went out, and I just think eventually seeing all the attention she was getting, the boys that she was attracting, you know, like I said, the acceptance that I hadn't got at home. I saw it firsthand in the community at the time. Like I said, I'm a 19-year-old child. You know, I'm still learning my way. And at the time, I didn't know I was
always been like gay.
I would say I was one of the people that was fluid, you know, because I always liked it, girls and boys. I didn't have you know what I'm saying? I was trying to figure it out, you know. I think that's what was going on. But you know, Black community, once you gay, ain't no other way. So, you know. Yeah. Which I know better now, but you know.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that the attention she was getting, the acceptance and all that. And then one night we was just at the house, at the crib, and I was laughing at her hairstyle because it looked jacked up. And she was like, I bet you can't do no better. I was like, what you talking about? She's like, I dare you to put a wig on to go out with me, and da da da. And I was like, all right, bet, I'm gonna do it. And when I went out, just the attention I got and the stares and all of that, you know what I'm saying? I think that's when the devil was like, aha, got him. And then I started just, you know, that night I went home after we left. She was even surprised. She was like, you know, you really surprised me. She was like, they really was at you. They really thought you was a full-time trans woman. You a nigga playing in drag tonight. Right. And I think that attention and that energy and just all of that, you know, I think that's where the devil was like, aha, got him. Because then I started thinking that night, like, oh, what if you went all the way and took the hormones and feminized your face and your this and that and da 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 da. And then I think I was like, well, why not? You only got one life to live. You know, just living fast and impulsively, not thinking about the future. I'm 20 years old at the time, you know. And it started from that day. I didn't even think about it. I just did it. I was like, literally, I call it throwing my life away. I literally threw my life away overnight because acceptance and attention felt like love to a broken child.
Yeah. So how was your transition from male to female? Like, was there any side effects? Like,
Yeah, so that's thing people don't talk about. Like when you take hormones, they do feminize you. You know, they take all the muscles out. You know, you're a man who naturally makes testosterone, and now you're putting estrogen in that body. So you know the testosterone is going to be suppressed, and the estrogen is going to be the main attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So they feminize you very fast, and I was overdosing. Whatever they prescribed to me, I was taking it twice as fast because this trans woman, she was my mentor. She was like, take it twice as fast, especially because I was kind of muscular at the time because I was working out after my classes. So they feminized me very fast as far as physical, but it had a lot of emotional and psychological side effects that I wasn't used to. And I didn't like that part. And that part almost made me stop. And she was like, well, if you want to quit so easy, that manipulation, if you want to quit so easy, then go ahead. But this is the cost you got to pay if you want to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to stick with it. But I never liked the psychological and emotional side effects that came along with it. And they will always say, it's just how women are when they be on their period. But see, that's natural. This is self-induced.
Oof.
Like now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, it come with the mood swings and the, what hormones naturally do for real women like you. But that's natural. That's God. That was God's intention for you.
Yeah, and it's not consistent. It's once a month that
exactly. Well, with trans women, it's sporadic. You don't know when that mood swing gonna pop up. You don't know when you gonna just, have these psychological imbalances. And like I said, it's not natural. It's self-induced. You know? Yeah. And there at the time there was no medication there was no like they promote counseling now, but they wasn't promoting counseling back then. Because they were just like, hey, that's what you want to do with your life and your body. Good luck,
Right.
Yeah.
So February 3rd, 2024.
I know.
My story for God's glory. Because if God be for me, finish the rest. And you went viral. Okay.
I know. Out of nowhere.
What led you to this moment?
So this is the thing. That story went viral the day after the entire TikTok account was made. Like if people look at that story.
It's your first video.
Yeah. First video. So I had no idea that was gonna go like that. So that's why I say this got to be God because I woke up the messages like, you don't went viral. I'm like, for what? And then they sent me the post and I was like, everywhere. I was everywhere. Back in November, I went to this church that I had been pastoring for 3 years. I never had attended. And I went on a Sunday, and the pastor just was like, the message was so powerful. It's like it was for me. And so at the end of the service, he was like, I see y'all tomorrow night at prayer. So I was like, I asked one of the members, like, hey, listen, what's prayer? And she was like, oh, we're doing an 80-day prayer revival. It started October 10th. I said, oh, well, yeah. I said, well, who's over it? She was like, oh, the pastor. I said, oh, yeah, I definitely need to be a part of that because if this is that, then yeah. And so I went and I went for about 2 weeks, still dressing as Ashley, even though I was already having the thought process of detransitioning. My process was, I said, we're going to still wear the mask and we're going to still wear the costume right up until we are ready to get the surgeries to turn it around. Then we're going into the world. But they say, tell God your plans and watch him laugh.
Hello.
Yeah. So about 2 weeks in, he just started talking about deliverance. And each week had its own subject. So 1 week was about deliverance, and I was already having those thoughts. And about summertime of 2023, like my desires for men changed. Like I started being disgusted with men trying to holler at me, and I didn't know if it was my old age. I didn't know if it was a phase. I was like, maybe because I'm in my late 30s. But then I realized now it was God. Like I literally started becoming disgusted with men trying to holler at me, and then I stopped taking hormones 6 months before that. And I started feeling like a natural man again. I hadn't felt like that in 16 years. So I was like telling myself, and my mom's like, I don't think I'm going to the hormones. I think I'm going to just have to be one of them Mike Tyson looking trans women. I don't know. But because it's all kind of trans women. It's soft ones, it's hard ones. It's ones you could tell they trans from the exit. You know what I'm saying?
They really care? No shade. Do they be caring that like?
I don't know.
And no,
No, it's no shade.
Like, we see you. We see it.
Yeah. I think some are okay with just dressing up and going to get breasts and say, hey, listen, this is all I'm gonna do. I think some of them, I call it the Caitlyn Jenner effect. I think some of them just, hey, listen, I'm a Caitlyn Jenner it out. And yeah. So I knew I wasn't going back to hormones because I didn't miss the psychological and emotional side effects. I liked it. Right. I liked it, my full strength being back mentally and emotionally. I was like, yeah, I missed that. And then so it was the tired of taking the hormones. Then it was the not being attracted to men. And I didn't notice at the time, but this was God working. And then I found that church and I went to 56. They had 80 days of prayer. I went to 56 nights of prayer because I started going November 5th. And then that pastor talking about the deliverance at Encounter. That's the church name, Encounter Atlanta. And I was like, yeah, I want to be delivered from this thing 100%. I don't just want to stop hormones and stop the men. I want out of this whole thing because for a long time, I think I thought about it on and off maybe 2 years prior to this year. But you start feeling like you stuck because your body done made so many changes. And, in your late 30s, you transition when you're 21, you start feeling like, well, my body done lived like this as an adult longer than it has as a man. You start feeling like it's too late. Plus, if you never see it done before, you don't know if it's possible. I had only seen one person detransition and, but he detransitioned and went back into the gay community. So he didn't detransition, and change lifestyle. He detransitioned just the physical aspects.
You said a whole word right there.
Huh?
So what makes a detransition complete is the mental too.
Yeah.
Or you think that, it's a few spectrums or for most part transitioning.
Yeah, it's levels. It's levels. It's just like it's levels to the transition, it's levels to the detransition. Like, he identifies as gay. He still loves men. You know what I'm saying? I don't judge. I'm not a hypocrite. I think people that get delivered from something then try to judge people for hypocrites. I just don't have no desire for men. You know what I'm saying? That's just not my thug thizzle no more. You know what I'm saying? But he still does, and that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? But I saw him detransition physically, and I of course reached out to him about the doctors and the testosterone and the dosage and different things. But before him, I had never seen anybody detransition, and because he detransitioned and went back to the gay community, they still bashed him. They still got mad at him. They still ganged up on him. So I already knew what I was gonna go through.
I wanted to talk about that because February 8th, you started like a 2 to 3. I don't know if you got to do the third one, but yeah, because I was watching. But you did a little series, and you were speaking about how the community was basically trying to silence you in the bastion and things of that nature. And quote, you said, feels like the same thing white people were saying back in the Jim Crow days. Let's not give the Black people the right to vote. Why were you feeling that way? And how did you get to that point to where you were making these series of basically like exposing the backlash and the hypocrisy of it all?
Because in the trans community, I got my real estate license 10 years ago. And I was one of the first Black trans people that got a real estate license that the community ever knew. And they applauded that. And then I started, when my brother had my niece, I started a family business for us, Beauty Mouse ATL. It's the reason that the skin don't win, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So I started that because that was a business I said I'm going to give my mother and my niece and the women of our family, later on in life. I started during the pandemic. And so they applauded that. They will applaud all the things I did that were in the transition of, Ashley
in the community.
Made the community look good. But the minute the minute this went viral, oh my God, them people went to making lives. They went to making posts. they went on my Facebook page and reported old posts, which is why I'm in Facebook jail now. Like, it just was a lot of backlash. And then some of the people that I was hearing that was doing, I'm like, man, I done fed some of these hoes. I done helped some of these. I done helped some of these. I done helped some of these bums get out of jail. I done been there for these folks. Some of these folks done slept on my floor, even if it was 10 years ago. It's still, you did it. You know what I'm saying? I done been there for these folks. So it's like a gang. It's like you know, like the Jim Crow days, or it's like white people now when you try to talk about oppression and white supremacy, they be like, oh no, we don't want to hear about that part, but y'all want to hear about the parts where we say y'all help us and y'all are allies and stuff. Yeah, big up that, but the part about us being monsters, oh no, shh, keep that part on the hush. You know what I'm saying? And so with the transition, they want me to silence that because and one of them hit me up. They said, you know, I really think you should detransition silently because, you know, I'm all for you being happy, but you are going to make you detransitioning so publicly is going to make the rest of the world think the rest of us are crazy, and that's not going to help our cause. And we're trying to fight for more rights, not less rights. And this is an election year, and so the far right conservatives are going to take posts like yours and use it against our agenda.
Wow. So you're the poster kid of detransitioning. And it was just a female, I can't remember her name. They have that's, you know what? And I said this, like, it's so, the detransitioning community is big.
Bigger than what people think. Because I didn't know I did my thing, and I'm getting hit up by so many of them. I done lost count.
If people did their research, they have documentaries. It was one guy who was big in the community, the LGBTQ plus community, white guy.
Walt.
And he's leading. I think you know him. He's older now. He like
Walt.
And yes.
Yeah.
And and I was like, whoa, because I think he was at Caitlin's little thing at one point in time. But then I'm like, when you just, it's huge. And then the other young lady that came out and she talks about how cutting off, but they kind of, you know, they have a whole thing. That's why I'm just like, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand because I witnessed some of your backlash, and I'm gonna get into it further down in this interview. But I was just like, whoa, it was just sad and weird how, oh, now you got something to say about him, and let me whoop this, and he ain't that. And I'm just like, what he got going on got to do with you?
Somebody said they have a fear that my message is going to, that they know about the other detransitioners, but that my message and my virality is going to be so magnified that it's going to, you know, it's going to cause way more.
As it should. And I'm going to tell you this.
I said, go tell them
this.
I have no control over that. But I'm not going to tell my story.
It's bigger than you. I'm going to be very transparent. I was looking down your comments, and people was talking about transitioning from witchcraft. They were talking about, I used to be a witch.
You saw that?
I'm going into Christ.
I
saw that. I'm like, y'all are missing it.
Yeah, it's people saying they want to. It's people saying they want to detransition from their drug habits. It's a lady saying she want to detransition from being a sex worker and being pimped out. Like, this is way bigger than me, and community is way bigger than y'all. I know y'all think everything about y'all, as usual, insecure behinds. It's not. Everything ain't about y'all. Please get over yourself.
It's honestly God. It's honestly a God thing.
Yeah.
And that tells you something, but you know, I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we hear the comparison of being gay or any affiliation to the LGBTQ plus community as being Black, to make reference to, you know, being born in this way. What are your thoughts on that? And you can speak from a perspective of once being in that community to now being out. You know, what's that your thought frame? I know you were fluent, but I know you've had conversations with people, and I often have too. But what is your thought? Because they compare, you know, being gay, being lesbian, being, you know, bi to a color.
Some people are born that way. I think that me and my mom have had talks, and my mom has 9 sisters and 2 brothers, and out of all the sisters, okay, so my mom is the 7th one, so her and the 6 above her have the same father, supposedly, and then you know it's blurry. But my mother's father and my family, Lord Jesus, how this gonna go? My mother's father was later on after he passed. There was a rumor by the oldest that our grandfather was bisexual, that he was preaching in the church. You know what I'm saying?
Hypocrite.
And him and one of the other white pastors of the city of Fort Pierce, they were going in the woods, you know what I'm saying, not having Bible study.
Okay.
Yeah. Often. And he would take the battery out of my grandmother's car so that she could not go find him, you know what I'm saying? And my mom was like, some of the sisters, when they bring it up, they be like, oh no, not my daddy, Lord Jesus, some of them have that. And my mom says, she's not one of them. She's like, yeah, it's been a rumor. It was Fort Pierce, Florida, this small. So she's like, it's a rumor that, we all like, my mama can handle it. And our pastor told us that certain things can be inherited,
generational curses.
Because in my family, with my mother having 9 sisters and 2 brothers, I have almost 30-something first cousins. Yeah, I have almost 30-something first cousins. So before me, there was people that were gay. I have cousins that were gay, men and women. But when you're raised in Bible Belt, Fort Pierce, Florida, it's I went the most extreme. I think that certain things you inherit from talking to my pastor, and I think that it's a stronghold. I think that you have to pray it off. I think that being raised in a house with a terrorist like I was, it did not help the situation, because you're broken. You go looking for love in all the wrong places, and the gays are right there to open you with open arms, because you guys have one thing in common: trauma bonding.
And I think they can go across even just any lines. When you get hurt by a male, you know what I'm saying, then you start looking for it, and all the different men, you know what I'm saying, like, because you're trying to find that love from daddy. With women, that's why I be like, people, y'all missing it.
Yeah, you're missing it. I started meeting gay men as father figures, but a lot of times they had a secret motive of, I'm gonna pretend to be your father figure, but when I get you alone, I'm finna try you. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna choose, because you know what I'm saying. Not the I always kind of been. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I would my first gay friend that I met, he would always tell me, "Oh, I'm going to my gay daddy house. I'm going to my gay daddy house." You know what I'm saying? And then he didn't tell me that the night that his gay daddy tried him. You know what I'm saying? He told me that much later. And so we ended up having that conversation one night by accident. I was like, the man that you said gonna be our gay daddy, he tried me. He was like, oh, he ain't my gay daddy no more. He tried me too, And then I think it just creates a domino effect. And then I think when you're young and you get touched and your little pee-pee get hard, I think your body starts to say, well, maybe this is normal.
Yeah, because it's confusing. It feels good. It's
so confusing. And I think that you can accidentally start to, and then the Black community will make you feel and make women feel like, oh, he gay, right? He done messed with a man before. So
and that's not the case.
So then women like you, but then they talked out of talking to you because they're like, hey, that's a punk. That's you know what I'm saying? By the other niggas that's hating on you. And so I think that it's so many ways. I put it like this: there's so many ways to end up gay. It's so many ways to end up gay. But I do believe in deliverance. I remember when Donnie McClurkin, that story came out, people were saying he wasn't delivering. Me and my mom was like, man, like anybody can be delivered, but with the Black community, nah. Once you do something once with the Black community, it's held over your head for the rest of your life. That's why you just gotta live your life and not worry about Black people. You know what I'm saying?
You absolutely do. And I say, in regards to when people say that, I was born this way. Well, the Word of God says that we got to be born again.
Yeah.
So it's like, you feel me? And as far as the generational curses and stuff that you stem, that is true too. It's just like generational blessings.
Yeah.
However, with generational curses, somebody got to break the chain.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying? And that curse breaker is gonna get the hell, because I was molested, and I came out of a whole documentary, and my family was like, and I'm like, what? That's when you was like, man,
and on business, right.
You was
and
like, and somebody told me to be quiet. Oh, I was like, yeah.
And yeah, so now, like my mom's father, my granddad, you know, that story has come out because you know they come from that generation of what goes on in this house stays in this house. So all this stuff is coming out as we're becoming adults, and then it started to come out too that two of my aunties also dabbled, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Eating a little cootie cat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We never knew that either because we got cousins that are their children. We never knew that either. So now stuff is starting to be, and so because what happened was the people that was trying to ride us, the ones in the family that were openly gay, you know, our parents started defending us like, baby, let's not open up these let's not open up these doors because y'all don't want to have these conversations. Y'all ain't ready for that. They started using that as defense mechanism. Everybody would say, "Oh no, never mind." Oh, okay, I thought so. You know,
right.
So I think you can. I think that you can be born gay through generational curses, but I think you also can be turned out. I know a lot of men, especially men. I know a lot of men that was turned out. I ain't gonna even lie. I turned men out. You know what I'm saying?
I was a prodigal molestation. I molested.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And that's why I was saying, like, this is bigger than you. It's so bigger than you. And I'm grateful that you said something. You was like, and I thought this was so pivotal, but you was like, it's not about you hearing the call, as if you answer it, and those who answer it. And so I thank you for answering it. So we're going to get into the latter part of the interview. How has your journey been, in a sense of give me a pain and then give me a glory moment?
Okay. A pain would be, I would say, people that I have been there for in my past.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Turning against me, you know, even though I was prepared for it. Thank God, so much.
Right.
If it was like 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, how could they?
Right.
But I learned a few years ago what God erases, He replaces.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I also adopted the mantra that, you know, I'm okay with losing people as long as I don't lose myself. So I think the pain was I didn't know so many. Like I knew some people were gonna, you know, show their true colors, but I didn't know so many, especially some of the people that I was really there for, and they really shouldn't have nothing to say about me because without me, they probably wouldn't even be alive to this day. Real talk.
Right.
But I'm gonna leave it alone. So that's been.
But you said something. You said hard times bring out fake people.
Yeah.
I said, ooh.
Yeah. Real situations expose fake people. Like most definitely.
I said, he said a whole word.
Yeah, real situations expose fake people. So I'm glad I get to see this. And I just want them to know, and I've been telling people that's been like telling me, let them know they got to stay over there too. Like they can't change their mind in 6 months. Like, you know what? My bad. Like, nah, you got to stay over there forever. It's been nice knowing you. Like real talk. Because that's who you are at your core. Even if you follow in the bandwagon, I don't deal with followers. I only deal with leaders. So that's been a pain. A joy has been so many people saying that my story has helped them on their journey of detransitioning from whatever they're going through. My story has helped them with their children. My story has helped them, you know, be accepting. Because a lot of people are like, hey, you know, I'm seeing a little twang. I'm seeing a little something in my child. And, you know, I don't know what to do. I was like, well, don't do it the way my family did it, you know, because that's not going to help in the long run. I said, publicly accept, publicly respect, privately pray. You know, pray, stay on your hands and knees, privately pray, because it can go away. And like I said, thank God this is a more educated generation. This is a more hands-on with social media and platforms and stuff like that. So that's been the pro and the con. And the pros outweigh the cons. When I see some of those messages of people saying how my story has helped them and my testimony has, you know, helped their family and they're showing their husbands at night and, you know, I have a lot of people praying for me and with me. It's made the journey feel less lonely because I've always felt like I went on journeys by myself. Like,
right. So I want to get into some questions from comments that I had based off of like teasers and stuff that I presented from like reactional videos that I did, as well as going through your comments, different posts. Okay, it's 5, right?
Okay.
First one is, and this has been like a prevalent one. I think you addressed it, but I want to do it overall. Okay. Why mention the devil in your transitioning? Is this not just a choice you made?
Right. The reason why I mentioned the devil, and I think when I mentioned the devil, I mentioned it. So I mentioned it. I said the devil tricked me. I think that was the triggering of everybody.
It was.
What I mean by that is that I feel like the devil will use your weaknesses in order to take you down a path that you originally were not going down. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant. Do I feel like every trans woman has the devil in them? No. That's how it came out. That's the way people decided to take it. But I do feel like the devil will use your weaknesses. He will use your brokenness. He will use your unhealed nature. He will use the things that excite your flesh to take you down a road that you probably wasn't going down. I wasn't going down a trans road when I left my mother's house. I wasn't even going down a trans road when I first met them for the first 3 years, but right. At the time that I decided to transition, I was weak-willed and easily influenced, and those are my weaknesses. And the devil used those 2 weaknesses to help me go down that path. So that's what I meant by that. And if that's not good enough for the people, then they're gonna have to pray to God for the rest of the answer.
Hello. And I would say this, I don't feel like you should explain, because I feel like, if you truly have the Holy Spirit in you, the Word of God tells us that we're supposed to die to our flesh daily. So if any point in time you feel as though you're doing something out of your flesh,
who is it then?
Who's influenced you to do that? God is not going to influence you to do anything with your flesh. He hates the carnal. That's he says that's what he battles with. It's the
carnality.
Flesh. He hates it. Carnality. Come on now. So no, he meant what he said. I'ma say it for him. He's trying to be nice. He meant what he said.
And you know what I find so funny? Some of them say, I find so funny when I was reading all the comments, especially from the community, saying the devil didn't trick you. These same people, if they win a pageant, they'll be like, yes, God, thank you for helping me win this pageant. So God will help you win a gay pageant, but the devil didn't help me transition. Like, get out of here. You just can't win with some folks.
You can.
Some of them folks, I could have said, I transitioned because Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. No, you can't.
Why Humpty Dumpty?
It would have been. It's a lose-lose, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
I'm happy that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there's a gay or LGBTQ plus agenda?
They're pushing it now more than ever. This is what I think. I think for so long, I hate to go back to the Black comparison, like how for so long, Blacks were oppressed. They couldn't use the same, it was back of the bus, Blacks only, whites only. So when they started fighting for their equal rights, they really, 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 really fought. And then that invoked a lot of laws like affirmative action and, equality and all that. So it looked like an agenda when all it really was, evening out the playing field finally. I think with the gays, they were so oppressed and secretly discriminated against, and different things that the Obama administration leveled out a lot of the rights and stuff, and now they're more visible. Gays and trans are more visible on TV and stuff. And I think now with all the surgeries you can get paid for with insurance and all of that, I think it does come off as an agenda. I think it's just more visible. I think because of social media and stuff, I think it's just more visible. I think now, people see trans like, you get on the internet, you scroll your timeline, you're gonna see something trans that day. Mm-hmm. I will say, in the community, it's being more promoted than it was before. I will say that.
Now, I saw this in one of your under one of your post comments. This person said, is it true that doctors don't like to do detransition surgeries? Do they require to go through mental evaluation first?
My doctor just made me go through mental evaluation to get my testosterone, but he didn't make me do that for my hormones. because my doctor has been my doctor since 2010. He just said, well, what were you taking? Because, you can get it off the street. That's how I was doing it before I became a real insurance. I was getting it, black market, they call it. I was black market. This lady would go to Mexico. She would buy thousands of dollars of hormones, and we would call her. She would send it over to us. And then I just told him what I was taking. He was like, that's a healthy dose. I was like, yeah. And he'll prescribe me whatever I wanted. But then when I want to detransition, he was like, well, I'm going to have you do a psychiatric evaluation just to make sure this is what you want to do. And I was like, you think I would be telling you this? You've been my doctor since 2010. So I don't like the double standard. I do think it's messed up. I think it's jacked up. And his excuse is what most people's excuse would be. Most people that transition stay that way forever. Yeah, but I'm not most people.
Mm-hmm.
And be ready for the exception, because it's a lot of people from the, come to their senses as well. So I don't like that double standard. And whoever said that is right. When you want to detransition, you looked at sideways, And maybe that's why people think it's a trans agenda, because you don't get half the pushback when you say, hey, doctor, I want to be a woman. They're like, oh, okay, cool, here you go. But when you want to detransition, it's like, oh, wait, hold up. No, no. Yeah.
You messing the program up.
Yeah. That's not what we used to.
So why are people in the community mad at you about this detransition? I think you kind of hit it, but
yeah, because they feel like I'm not helping I'm not helping the agenda.
I mean, you're not trying to, right?
Yeah, the exact words was, I make the entire community look crazy when the rest of us know why we transition, all because of your one detransition going viral. And they're mad at me because I won't be silenced. That's why.
Yeah.
They tried to threaten me with the loss of friendship, and I was like, oh, here's the door. Like, who do y'all like? Why do people equate their friendship with gold? Like, baby, ain't nobody losing nothing if I lose you. People feel like once they threaten you with the loss of friendship, like your world gonna stop. Like, oh, let me turn back now. Like, get up out of here, bro. That's crazy.
Lastly, if someone wants to detransition, is it ever too far into a transition where you can't? And how does one start their journey of detransitioning?
I feel like it's only too late if you went and got the sexual reassignment surgery, because once they take your PP away, they can't give it back. Once they get rid of all them vessels and the things that make that thing jump,
That thing.
Yeah. And that's why they have mental evaluations before you go get that in the US. Unfortunately, overseas doctors are not held to the same standard as board certified plastic surgeons in the US. So you can go over there, you can meet with a psychiatrist that day for 2 hours, and you tell them I want it off, and it's off. Whereas over here, I think you have to go through like psychiatric evaluations for like 6 months to a year just to make sure. So I feel like if you went that far, you're stuck being trans, and you're stuck with that wound between your legs, because that's really what it is. It's a wound trying to heal itself. And I'm not being funny, but I have people I know that when they got it, and they have to dilate for the rest of their life. And if it's supposed to be there, you shouldn't have to dilate for the rest of your life. So I want to tell anybody who's thinking about going that far, you got to think about that. And you got to also realize that nothing man-made will ever work or function like something God-given. So, you might do it to be at mental peace, but a man-made vagina on a trans person will never work like the one God gave natural women. Right. And that's not me being funny. Certain things are just facts.
Yeah.
It's science.
What has gotten convoluted with the transition, and people don't want to pay attention to facts.
Yeah, you can't fight science, bro. Like, people want to go back, because trans have gotten so many rights. I think, like you said, the confusion has caused delusion. Like, you can't fight science. I think be grateful that you can go get these surgeries if that's how far you want to go. But you can't be out here telling, like, someone be like, they be getting arguments with real women, like, I got the same thing you got. No, you don't, my love.
And that's okay. Like,
and it's okay. You can't.
But they like, no, and that's when I think, and this is me talking. That's when I think the issues come in mentally, because it's like, no, you don't. Yeah, like, come on now.
They go too far.
Too far. Okay.
And even when I was living this trance, I never let my mind travel that far. Like I never was like the people that was like, well, periods don't, like the girl who was like, periods don't belong to. Well, who
Yeah,
the
that's
hell
what I
is
said. Woman, it literally does this in the Bible. He literally gave that to us. Like that's what's
when
going
they was
on
calling
here.
women birth givers, and I was like, man, y'all go too far, bro.
Yes,
Like, no.
and chest feeding.
Y'all go too far.
I said, okay.
Me and my
All
mom would
right.
look at each other and laugh. Like I never let my mind go that far. I never, even when I was living in that, I was like, now y'all just take things too far. You give people an inch, they take a mile,
Take
baby.
out, child. Well, we're gonna play a fun game before we wrap this up. Would you rather? Okay.
Okay.
So you ready? Got
Yeah.
10 little would you rather's for you, all right?
All right.
Okay. Would you rather be Peter or Judas?
Mm.
Now, let me explain to you. For those that aren't Bible savvy,
Right.
both of them betrayed Jesus. They both did, but their outcomes were different.
Yeah.
Okay. So, who would you rather be? The upfront betrayer or the one that, slipped up? He me too.
Oh, that's a hard one. I would rather be I want to say Peter because I feel like Judas was the one that put the nail in the coffin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like Peter because I feel like Judas put Judas was the one to put that nail in the coffin. You know what I'm saying?
And not only that though, because see what people miss with those two, they both betrayed him. But the difference is that Jesus told Peter, Satan desires to sift you as wheat, but I'm gonna pray for you. He didn't say nothing to Judas. He didn't pray for Judas. Mm-mm. And what happened to Judas? He went and irked himself. So my thing is, I've always told people, when you betray me, I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna have you. You can either do two things: allow me time, and I'm gonna give you grace. And I'm gonna possibly pray for you. That don't necessarily mean that you're gonna be back around me.
Right.
But Judas himself. So you either gonna hang yourself or you gonna, I'm gonna pray for you. That don't mean that you're gonna be in my vicinity still, but I'm gonna pray for you. So I would have to agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather be hungry or thirsty?
I'm a foodie. I'd rather be thirsty.
Me too. Me too.
I like to eat.
Okay. Would you rather be hot or cold?
I'd rather be cold.
Yeah.
I can't stay because I can't sleep when it's hot. I can sleep when it's cold. When it's hot, it's a wrap.
The wrap.
I can't sleep.
Would you rather eat cake or pie?
Oh, I'm a cake person all day long.
Me too. Me too.
Oh man, German chocolate, red velvet, lemon pound me.
Red velvet, baby. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Eat fruits or veggies?
Fruits. I love fruits.
Me too.
They give you natural energy. Yeah, I love fruits.
Yeah. Okay. Chicken, beef, or pork?
I don't eat no red meat, so chicken all day.
Wow.
Yeah, I was vegan during the pandemic.
Wow.
I was vegan during the pandemic. And my mom didn't go back.
Wow, that's amazing. Walmart or Target?
Target for the win.
Target. How you bougie?
Because they got more options. It's cleaner. You can find your stuff better. And more than likely ain't going to be no shootout. They shoot at the Walmarts here outside in the parking lot in Atlanta.
Would you rather fly or drive?
Fly. I'm impatient.
Fly. I'm scared of flying.
I don't do road trips. My mom was for a long time. Her first flight was with me back in like 2008, 9, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather stay in your city or move?
I want to move, but God still has me here. I've been here. Yeah, I've been here for 17 years. I'm over Atlanta, if I'm honest.
And lastly, would you rather be in love and never leave the United States or be lonely but travel the world?
Sorry, I was going to have to be lonely because I want to see the world with all it has to offer.
Oh my gosh. All right. If you could say anything to the younger you at any point in your life, when would it be and what would you say?
If I could say anything to the younger me in my life, I would say right at 18 when I graduated high school, right before I moved to USF, I would say to myself, everything that you was told was a lie. You got this. Don't follow nobody, nowhere. Don't let nobody move in your house. And you were a natural born leader. And don't follow none of these people. And I would have been all right.
Amen.
Yeah.
What scripture sticks with you?
Right now, a few of
Yeah.
them throughout whatever I'm going through. But right now, Romans 12:2 about the renewal of your mind.
Yes, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
I have to go to that one often right now because like they keep coming with the hate and da. And when I say renewal of my mind, I ain't talking about the trans thing. That's already made up. That's a done deal. We just wait to get out. But I just mean like the old me would have energy matched. The old me would have been like, man, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I've had to renew. I'm happy to renew my mind daily. Don't enter.
It says, daily bread. Daily bread. You know what I'm saying? You natural, because I do the same. I be like, y'all don't know I'm pull up queen.
Baby, when I tell you, I'm like, listen, like
what? Yo.
But,
okay, so yeah.
I let the Lord fight my battles, and I try to go through that. I'm like, I just started letting the Lord fight my battles. Don't make me have to.
Okay.
And the old me is still in there, but I'm like,
yeah, I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, so the renewal of my mind every day. That's my scripture. That's my go-to.
Your business, because I know I heard you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I have two
business.
Okay. So I still have my real estate license. So I am helping buyers and sellers in the Atlanta area. And then, like I said, during the pandemic, when my brother had my niece, I started a family business for us called Beauty Moss ATL, where we sell sea moss gummies and we sell anti-aging pills. My family, as you can see, we're big on anti-aging and skincare and health and wellness. And we started that. So you can go get your skincare there. You can go get your sea moss gummies.
You got Shipp?
We do. It's a international website. Oh yeah, good. But it's beautymossatl.com. And if you want to support the physical detransition journey that I'm saving for, the GoFundMe link is in my bio on all platforms.
Absolutely. I'm going to post that on here on the video. And lastly, how can they connect with you? What's your social media?
So my social medias, if they can see my name right there, is my social medias are Big Zario on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and eventually it'll be that on Facebook once I get out of Facebook jail from the trolls putting me in there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much, Zario. Thank you so much. Your story, like I said, people don't know that it's beyond you. It's beyond them at this point in time. So I pray for you. And anytime you get discouraged or you feel as though like, okay, you need a reminder, check your comments. You have more love than you do hate. And also what my pastor just said, and his name is G. Craig Lewis of the EX Ministries. So you got to check him out. He's online. He said something pivotal to me this last sermon. He said, I delete the bad comments on my social media. I have moderators. And he was like, people be like, well, why are you doing it? He said, because it don't match up. Yeah. If I'm God talking about the Lord and his positivity, I don't want no negative in there. I was like, wow. Because I found myself doing it, and people be like, oh, you biased. Yeah, I am. I am.
Some trolls in there. Nobody want to see all that. Yeah,
I don't see that. So I wanted to tell you, you need to do the same. Erase delete the negative comments so you ain't got to be reminded, and just continue to watch the positivity, because it's up from here. I see you getting married, having children with your hands. Child, please. Okay. Like, come on now. Yeah,
let me let some people know too that I was not drinking alcohol. This is ginger beer.
Oh, please.
Like, let's kill it before it even starts. This is ginger beer.
You already know.
Before I get rid of my cold, my mama bought it for me. So I don't drink anymore either. I don't want nobody saying like, well, he said on TikTok he don't drink anymore. But
oh my God, you got it, Twain.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much. Allow me the opportunity to speak with you and share your story It's a beautiful one, and I'm excited to see your future. And if you need anything from me, you got my support, be it prayer, be it conversation. Sky's the limit for you.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I received that.
Thank you guys. What an interview it was. Thank you guys for taking out the time to watch this video. Now, let's remain cute. All positive comments, please, okay? He is embarking on a journey that is not the norm for a lot of people within his community. So let's up him with prayers and love. God bless. Hey, what's up? Whitney D here. Now, if you like that video, make sure that you leave a comment, you like the video, and you share it. Sharing is caring, okay? And I will see you guys on the next video. But until then, make sure you connect with me on all my social medias. Until next time, God bless.
Everybody's scared when they in the booth, but I'll take on the persecution for the truth.